Welcome to the Ron and John Show, brought to you by Veterans Lending Group, and I'm Ron.
And I am John. This is the Ron and John Show. Hey, at the Ron and John Show, we're known coast to coast like butter and toast. We can make ISIS surrender or die, or make even the nerdiest guy look kind of fly. We can drink like we've been singing all night long, and we can sing like we've been drinking all night long. So if you're looking for a good time, don't you delay. Tune into the Ron and John Show. Me and this Ranger, we lead the way. Boom!
And we're back.
Boom!
Boom! Welcome back to another Ron and John Show, and I am Ron.
And I am John. Welcome to the Ron and John Show, brought to you by Veterans Lending Group. How's it going, brother? It's been 2 weeks, man.
It's been 2 weeks, brother. It's been awesome, phenomenal. Had a great time with through the holidays, it's been great, and it's good to see you. It's good to see you. You back again here, brother.
Absolutely.
How's things in household trucks?
Everything's good, man. Had a couple weeks of some virus stuff going around, but everybody's doing well, and everybody is hanging in there. Right. and I continue to get after, how do we deal with this coronavirus? How do we deal with what's going on in the world? And you and I talk about it a lot. It's be prepared, not scared, man.
Be prepared, not scared.
And because fear incites despair.
That's right.
And what we need is motivation and inspiration to focus on hope, and that everything is going to work out. And that positive mental attitude is just critical in getting us beyond this coronavirus pandemic, but also what it's done to the economy and other things, to get through this. And and that means we got to deal in facts and not misinformation. Because
right.
Misinformation, along with fear, will lead to that despair and that loss of hope. So we just got to stay focused and deal in the facts, and let's keep pushing, brother. Yeah,
that's it. I love you talking about that fear, right? And I always say fear is nothing more than false evidence is appearing real, right?
Yeah.
And faith is walking forward in spite of that fear. And how do we build that faith? Is with all the things that you're talking about. Are we PME hard? Are we doing all the things we're supposed to? Are we doing the things that's going to inspire and not retire people and their mental toughness, right? Man, it's good to see you, brother, and as well as continuing to champion that and living that example. That's what we're all about. So.
Yeah, and I was able to get on a kind of a partnership between the Chamber of Commerce and the VA, talking about the spike in suicides through the coronavirus, and I'm sure we'll get into this with our special guest, but just the importance of our veteran and military support organizations in assisting our veterans, assisting service members and their families with the challenges that have come up through this pandemic, and in this economy that's taken a toll. It's so important that those organizations exist, and more importantly, that veterans and family members, they know what they're there for.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And there's so many. And there's so many options out there, and it's like walking into a mall. Where do you start, right? Or at least you and I going to a mall, right?
Yeah.
But it's great to have someone that can be that messenger, right? That communicator that says for these organizations, hey, here's what we do. Here's how we're relevant. Here's why, and here's what you can do to get involved. Now and in the future. Which kind of leads us up to our guest today, I guess.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey, we have a great American here today, a guy that I personally serve with. As a matter of fact, I first met this guy. He was the public affairs advisor. He was the first guy that I realized how strategically important public affairs and information management is in terms of translating it from the strategic level to the tactical level, so the troops know the why. He was one of the first guys I saw it in action. He was my predecessor, Brian Battaglia, Sergeant Major Marine 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗃, who was the second 𝗬𝗏. He was his public affairs advisor, and we first met when they came to Korea, and we went out and did a lot of things with our Korean counterparts and everything. And we'll talk about those here as we get into it.
Yeah.
But I was so impressed with this gentleman and what he was doing and how he was controlling themes and messages, not only for the 𝗬𝗏, but for the Department of Defense and all of the services. And then we kind of built a relationship there, and he just kept me informed when I was at USFK on stuff that was going to the 𝗬𝗏, that was going to the services and everything. And then, you know, lo and behold, I get selected as the 𝗬𝗏, and I go to Washington, D.C., and now he is my public affairs advisor, and he set me up with success. And so, and then he assisted me in selecting the guy to replace him as he was transitioning and moving on to retirement. Yeah. Where I got Rob Couture, who's been a guest on our show before.
Oh, yeah.
And now when I look at guys like our guest, who I'll introduce here in a second, but guys like Rob Couture, Mike Levine, and all of these other folks who have just been these strategic leaders in the public information or public affairs and information domain. It's just been phenomenal to see these kind of guys, and they call themselves DINFOS killers, DINFOS trained killers, because they all graduated from the Defense Information School. But so our guest today is a veteran, and he does a lot of work with the Veterans of Foreign War, and he's a personal friend of mine and just someone that I admire a lot. So let's bring him out. Master Sergeant Retired Terrence Hayes.
Boom.
Better known as #T_Hayes. There he is, man.
There he is. #T_Hayes.
Hey. Thanks for having me, gentlemen.
Yeah, it's great to have you on here, Terrence. So how you doing, man?
Man, I cannot complain. Everything is well on our end. Definitely just trying to maneuver through these very interesting times. But hey, the mission continues.
That's right, man. That's right. Hey, so you probably heard as I was introducing, you know, you were kind of the first guy that I ran into who was a public affairs professional that kind of rapidly transitioned the strategic, operational, and tactical level environments in terms of information and public affairs and telling the service member story. So tell us a little bit about yourself right quick in your career. You know, I kind of laid it out how you finished off, you know, advising not only 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗃, 𝗬𝗏 2, but me as well. So talk to us about Terrence Hayes and Master Sergeant Retired Terrence Hayes. The floor is yours, my friend.
Hey, thanks, gentlemen. Again, I'm humbled to join the program, the Ron and John program. I'm a viewer, so definitely glad to be on here.
Awesome.
And but yeah, great question, John. You know, I was a public affairs troopie my entire 20-year Army career. So I was definitely fortunate enough to be groomed properly by some amazing mentors. And as you gentlemen know, it takes a village to raise some of these troopies up. And I was fortunate enough to have several mentors along the way to help me in my public affairs career to become that DINFOS trained killer, like you said before, to where I'm still doing it today. So somewhere along the line, I did something correct, and people still value the work that I bring to the table. But as you stated before, strategic messaging, man, that's in everything we do these days, and it's vital in how we communicate. You don't want to be able to leave the narrative open up for interpretation, and that's where you get yourself into trouble sometimes. It's not necessarily what you say; it's sometimes how it's said or how it's communicated to your audience. So that's vital. Yeah. That we put some kind of strategy behind how we're communicating. And once again, I was able to learn this from a whole host of senior NCOs and officers that I was fortunate to work with during my Army career.
Awesome.
Awesome.
What does that look like as far as getting trained through AIT, day at the unit and stuff? I mean, when we were at several trips here with John, they're taking photos and pictures and video and stuff. Obviously you have to start there, but how does that escalate to get to where you're actually, managing communication and creating that?
Yeah, like you stated before, you got to start at the ground level. You pay your dues. I mean, you initially come in as a journalist, so you're learning everything about writing or everything about broadcasting from the basics. And then once you get your craft down, now you're trying to figure out how do I story tell? How do I tell the story about our amazing men and women serving in the greatest military in the world? So once you kind of mesh that into the mold, then you're thrown into the fire of having troops. So how do I have troops? I'm just trying to learn how to lead myself. Now I got to learn how to lead soldiers. And this is where it helped me. I started to branch off, not just from my career field, but I started to talk to non-commissioned officers, senior NCOs in various different career fields. I'm talking infantrymen. I'm talking about artillerymen. I'm talking about signal folks. I talked to those senior leaders because I wanted to learn how I could lead, how I could be that mentor for soldiers as well, and kind of groom them and lead them along the way. So I was able to tag along a lot of people's coattails, and that's where I found myself going through the Sergeant Artie Murphy ranks. And trust me, it was one of those things that I never thought I'd do. But then I went through that path, and they were just grilling me and just molding me and building me up and that kind of thing. And once I was able to go through those ranks and be in a group of a lot of capable and just some amazing men and women leaders, then I felt prepared to actually be that leader. And then I was able to mentor and mold my soldiers into the _𝗏𝗏𝗄𝐻 killers that they are today. And some of them are doing some amazing things. I just talked to one just yesterday who just made the sergeant major list and has a school date and is on his way to the Sergeant Major's Academy. And I'm very proud of those folks still to this day. But yeah, it's a process. And it's one of those things that, trust me, I'm still learning some things to this day in the job that I'm in right now.
Yeah. So Terrence, you kind of put the position of the SEAC Public Affairs Advisor on the map and the importance of it. And then, how you help Rob Couture shape and come in behind you, and how Couture, and in between, there's a guy named the Dean of Mean, Mike Levine, that was, kind of a guy that helped out there too. But how did that come about? How did you find yourself being the senior public affairs guy advising the SEAC, man?
Sergeant Major, trust me, it's a story in itself. So I'm once again, I'm a leader of soldiers. I'm trying to do everything I can to make my way to become a first sergeant. So that was my goal. My personal goal was to become a first sergeant and eventually go on to become a sergeant major. And so I actually was on assignment to head to Fort Bliss, and was going to put that diamond on and was ready to rock with some troops down in El Paso. Excuse me. And then all of a sudden, the position of the SEAC came back into fruition. Yeah. And at that time, I was actually serving at Fort Meade, where I was at the NCO Academy, and I was the senior instructor there at the Public Affairs School, teaching our amazing senior non-commissioned officers. And my name got thrown out in the hat on the Army side. So I think each of the services selected a senior NCO to go interview. Once again, I had no clue about this position. I didn't even know Sergeant Major Battaglia at that point. I know that he was in Iraq, and I know he did some amazing things, but and I knew he's a Marine. So I knew those things. So I'm doing my research, doing my homework and everything.
A prototypical Marine at that,
Yeah,
exactly. Hardened warrior, pissing razor wire and everything.
Exactly. Saints fan at that too. So, but yeah. So I'm trying to do all my homework and everything, and so I go interview, and I meet him for the first time, and I kid you not, it was like, meeting. When you walk into a room and that you just mesh together. That's the vibe I felt, at least. And sure enough, I interview. I go back. I'm like, man, I didn't get that job. So I'm thinking, once again, I'm ready to pack my rucksack up and head out to Bliss. And sure enough, I get the phone call from Sergeant Major. He says, "Come back in." So I go back up to the Pentagon. He sits me down and says, "Do you want the job?" And fellas, as you know, that was an easy yes. You never say no. You never say, "I need to think about it." Any of that. It was a yes.
Sold.
When do I start? And I didn't know what I was getting myself into. For a period of time, the position went dormant. So, and then I was the, there was no right seat, left seat for me. So everything was kind of from scratch. We were playing it by ear, basically building something into what it is today, where you, Sergeant Major, was able to take it on to that next level with Sergeant Couture. And then obviously now CXCZ is doing some amazing things as well, and his team. So it's just taking it to that next level each time. And that's why I was fortunate to be just a cog in that wheel. So, but yeah, I've dumb luck, if you want to call it, or just perfect timing, or being in the right place at the right time. You know, it just happened to work out that way. And I thank God for that opportunity, because it definitely set me up for success. It definitely set me up to meet some amazing individuals like yourself, like Ron, like some of my counterparts in some other countries that I was able to really build some relationships with. And it definitely set me up for the position that I'm in now.
Yeah, awesome. You know, first of all, you know, Freestyle Every Day for Everybody Live just popped in and said, you know, you can hear the passion speaking, and love that, man. You know, never apologize for the passion, and the passion brings the cash in, right? As they say. But when you said that you know 20 on the nose, or probably thereabouts. Yeah. And what did that look like for you? Were you just as excited as you are now about transitioning? Was that something that was kind of creeping up, or had you? Where were you with that and landing where you're at now?
Yeah, no doubt. I'm gonna tell you, it's a unique type of story. Trust me, I did not plan on retiring at 20 years in one day. There's some circumstances that kind of played into that, and sometimes you got to make some tough decisions. But I feel like I made the right decision. So about year 17, you know, I'm with the SEAC. I find out, unfortunately, that my wife had been diagnosed with ovarian cancer. Ooh. And from what Johns Hopkins told us, it was like stage 3, stage 4. So it was like major. It was major. Right. So while I'm traveling with the SEAC, you know, still on my mission, my wife making sure that she's good to go. She's going through you know, some rush surgeries and things of that nature. So we get the surgery. Come to find out, surgery day happens. Man, the experts go in, they're digging around. Come to find out, by the grace of God, they didn't find anything. Now, they didn't find cancer. Yeah. They found out that she had a major case, and one of the worst cases, of endometriosis. So and it's prone to come back, unfortunately. But she was able to get cleaned up. She's good to go. She's a hard charger and did her thing. But I knew that I needed to continue to make sure that she was monitored, because there was still a risk of her getting the endometriosis back and possibly cancer as well. So fast forward to like year 19, I'm talking to the SEAC, and kid you not, I got selected for Sergeant Major. And so now I'm prepping, I'm thinking, you know, now I'm like, well, I need to think about it. You know, what should I do? You know, obviously I know I'm going to go to the academy for about 10 or 11 months. From that point, I don't know what Army's going to send me. So I go have a one-on-one conversation with the SEAC and say, you know what, Sergeant Major, I thought long and hard about this. I think I've performed well over my career. I think I've, you know, I've done well by my soldiers and my troops. I think I met the mission that you required me of. I think I'm gonna finally take a knee and kind of bow out and let somebody else take this on. And trust me, he was shocked. He actually had me go see Sergeant Major of the Army, Chandler at the time. I go see him. He's like, Sergeant Hayes, what's going on? Come on now, we need you to stay in. You know what can we do? I'm like, man, Sergeant Major, I hate to disappoint. Trust me, and I feel like I'm disappointing myself, because I always wanted to reach this rank, but I have to do this for my wife, for my family, for my future, and that kind of thing. And I think they understood. And trust me, it was one of the toughest decisions I had ever made in my life personally, because it was a goal I always wanted to attain. I always still wanted to lead soldiers. Trust me, I wish I was, you know, there right now, rucking it up and having fun with them right now. Because I believe I still could do it, but it's one of the decisions that I think was the right decision at the right time for the right situation. And so transition came about, and once again, thankfully, with the position I was in, the folks that I met, the relationships I was able to build along the way, transition was pretty okay. Trust me, I was nervous, I was scared, I was all of that stuff. But as a mentor once told me, outline your plan and stick with it. So I outlined it, and I just prayed that it would go according to plan. And there was a little hiccups here and there, but I was able to learn the system And thankfully, I was able to transition a little smoothly. And yeah, I can't really complain about the transition, but trust me, man, it was a unique situation, one that I wish that I still could have went one way, but I'm thankful for the way that I went because I've been successful thus far.
Awesome. Well, hey, folks, you're watching the Ron and John Show, brought to you by Veterans Lending Group. Our special guest today, Master Sergeant Retired Terrence Hayes. Terrence, so now here you are, you're with the VFW now. Kind of talk to us about your role. You said basically you're doing the same thing you did, but lay out what your role is for the VFW, and then kind of talk to us strategically the direction and the vision of the Veterans of Foreign Wars.
Yeah, thanks, Sergeant Major. So I'm the national director of the Veterans of Foreign Wars. So I'm the official spokesperson for the entire organization. This organization was founded in 1899. It's our oldest combat service veterans organization in our nation's history. We do a wealth of things for veterans, service members, and military families worldwide. I'll tell you this, I heard all the myths, just like every other troopy probably has, about the VFW. That it's a place, where you go to just kick back some beers and just tell some war stories, or it's a place where you go have you go smoke a cigar or a cigarette or something in a smoky bar, or whatever the case may be. But I assure you, that's only maybe 2% of what this organization is all about. The VFW posts worldwide are pillars of their community. These folks within the VFW post, veterans like you and I, go out into their community. They volunteer. They're helping veterans. They're helping their fellow neighbors and citizens of the towns and cities that they live in. Right now, during the COVID-19 pandemic, they're out right now providing food at food banks. They're providing, means of clothing and things of that nature to our homeless veterans, as well as our homeless, just, everyday citizens. They're doing an amazing job out there helping youngsters, in our school systems, delivering educational scholarships and things of that nature to the VFW, to those individuals. So it's making a lasting impact on Americans, on our youth as well, our leaders of tomorrow. Hopefully that they understand that, a veteran along the way helped them, achieve the goals that they were trying to achieve. And that's what our VFW is all about. And the one fabulous thing that led me to the VFW, because I've been on board now for about 14 months. Previous to that, I was with the Department of Veterans Affairs for about 3 years, working with Secretary 𝗏𝗏𝗏 in the Media Relations Department. But one thing that led me away from the federal government to this nonprofit, kind of advocacy role that we're in now, is that I wanted to work with fellow veterans. I wanted to be able to advocate on behalf of fellow veterans. Every single day, we have legislative folks in our office at the Washington, D.C. office going across the street to Congress and advocating on behalf of guys like me, guys like you, gals out there who served in the uniform to ensure that, our benefits, our entitlements are protected, not just for us, but for the generation to come. I mean, just like our Vietnam veterans fought for benefits that I'm able to enjoy, I'm trying to do the same thing for the next generation of war fighters that come along the line. So that was one of the things that brought me on. And not only that, the VFW in itself is in a paradigm shift right now. We're trying to bring on our post 9/11 veterans, get a little younger in the ranks that we are, bring on more women veterans who are doing some amazing things out there and help them and have them help us transition into this, this 20, as we move into 2021 and beyond, have them help us and bring their ideas, their talents, so we can have their voice be heard on Capitol Hill, at the White House, at the Department of Veterans Affairs, and at DOD. So it's an exciting time right now, the VFW.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And now I know that, there's a lot of VSO work, right, that goes along with that. And now my buddy Billy Knight is here on as well. He's the pre-discharge supervisor here in Washington State, works on JBLM. But, there's all the you got the DAV, you got the VFW, right, that are on post at the income and welcome centers that are there in support of our active duty service members and their families, right?
Yes.
And here's the thing: is a lot of people don't know this. John and I travel the country, and you would be. I mean, you probably know that nobody really knows about these programs. True. And like Billy says, is like, we have all these phenomenal programs, but the marketing isn't there for that necessarily. So can you share about what VFW does there to help our service members to, get their benefits that they deserve?
Yeah, no doubt about it. You touched on it. We have what's called BDD sites, and that's basically where our transitioning service members are departing the military. We have veteran service officers strategically placed at 24 installations across the globe right now, to where you go into their office and they are charged with providing you a service of helping you navigate the VA disability claims process. That's their job. That's their role. They do it free of charge because that's what they're supposed to do. So what we do is we encourage our veterans who are, or excuse me, our transitioning service members becoming veterans to go see a member of our team, to seek the advice that they need. All you need to do is go see them. They take care of the rest. You know what I'm saying? You provide them your paperwork, your medical records, and all those things. Trust me, they walk it through from cradle to grave. They ensure that you receive the benefits and entitlements that you have earned and deserve. Because, hey, if I was to do that by myself, I only know what I know. These individuals are trained. They're trained professionals by the Department of Veterans Affairs. Each veteran service officer, no matter if you're a VFW, DAV, American Legion, you're required by law to receive 40 hours of training. Well, this is where I'm going to toot the horn of the VFW. Our VFW leadership said 40 hours is not enough. So we require our service officers to receive 80 hours because we want to get your claim right the first time. You know what I'm saying? We don't want you to come back and say, well, I think I should be getting this, or, I have this, that, no, we don't want that. We want to make sure we provide you the absolute best customer service experience possible and ensure that you receive the benefit that you need to ensure that you carry on into the next stage of your life. So we're proud of that. I'll give you a statistic. Last year alone, we were able to recoup $9.7 billion in VA disability compensation to about 500,000 veterans. $9.7 billion.
There's one right here.
That's huge.
There's one right here.
And that's huge, man. I mean, there's a lot of veterans out there that need this compensation. There's some folks who are unemployable. So imagine if you're unemployable, and this is the only, monetary means of, sustainability that you have. We need to get that right for you. Not only that, once again, navigating this system is very difficult if you're not in this system, if you're not a part of this, if you're not trained to do this job. So why not grab on to a professional like a VFW service officer to help navigate you through that system? Trust me, we're here to do that. And you can find us on a lot of installations, but go to VFW.org, click on that tab, assistance, and you'll be able to find out where we're located, and you can reach out to a service officer immediately, and they'll be able to provide you the assistance that you need.
Well, I got to tell my testimonial, Terrence, because when you're getting ready to retire as the SEAC, who do you ask for advice on how to do your VA disability claim? Who did I ask? The outgoing chairman, General Dunford, my boss. And he told me, call the VFW, and he gave me a guy's name, Greg Ortho, by the way.
Oh, yeah, Greg.
Greg, wonderful man.
Denfo train killer.
Oh, yes, absolutely, he is. But you mentioned that, go and see him and everything. When I called him, we set up an appointment. He came to my house.
Oh, wow.
And he sat down with Sandra and I, had all my medical records. He had his computer there. He even had his own hotspot, even though I said, hey, you can use my Wi-Fi. He got on there, and within a space of a couple of hours, he did my claim, and everything was done at the right time so I could get benefits delivered at discharge. Right. He submitted it that day, and every week he was giving me updates. And then he would call me and say, hey, are you getting your VA appointments? And everything was working. And then once I left the DC area, moved out here, a regional representative from the VFW called me once a week and was continuing to communicate with me on where my claim was in the process. And I thought, this is the mark of a world-class organization, is that I never had to pull information. They always pushed information to me. And then obviously with the help of the VA, the day after I retired, I had my letter that said, what my compensation was and everything. Right. So I have to give a shout out to Greg, who helped me a lot. But more importantly, everything you said about the VFW, I saw it firsthand in my, relationship with them, doing my own disability claim.
No, thanks for giving Greg that shout out. Greg is an amazing individual. He truly believes in taking care of veterans. And he's one of 2,100 of our service officers around the globe who that's their mentality. At the end of the day, they want to continue to serve. And that's what they're doing. And I hope that there's more stories of success out there, just as yours is, Sergeant Major, because if there's folks out there right now who are challenged right now, maneuvering through this system, I urge you, I beg you, to once again go to VFW.org, find a veteran service officer who you can connect with, and have him or her, help you maneuver through that process. Do not do this alone. Trust me.
Yeah, yeah, and with that, I know you said you were with the VA prior to the VFW, one of the things that we echo every single time that we're on stage is about the BDD program.
Yes.
Talk about that. Ask for a raise of hands. How many people know about this? And it's literally crickets. I mean,
no doubt.
So what is the VA doing, and what is the VFW doing to get out there and let these units and these service members know what the heck is going on? Because the thing is that, to my knowledge and from what we can tell, it's only John and I out here beating this drum, right? And kind of sharing this. As far as on that kind of level. So what's that look like as far as the marketing and getting it out to the rest of the DoD units?
No, you make a good point. We're trying to strategically within the VFW, we're trying to do a better job, of telling the amazing story of the back. We call the BDD folks and our service officers the backbone of the VFW, because that's where the nuts and bolts of the work is happening for our veterans, their families. And so we're trying to strategically come up with ways to communicate better ourselves. Just recently we came up with the opportunity to start a podcast. And so I'm now hosting a podcast to hopefully get those messages out there to folks in a different, means, to ensure that they understand better about what our organization is trying to do. We're trying to connect with the base and things of that nature. We have VFW posts, once again, who are strategically placed around the world. And some of them adopt units. Some of them are doing some amazing volunteer work on those bases. What we want to do is continue to have them be seen. So, the more that they're seen, the more that our service members know who they are, their families know who they are, know what they do. And know that they're not just these guys or gals walking around with these funny looking hats on, after they've given up the uniform and still trying to soldier on or something like that. But yeah, that's what we're hoping, man. A bulk of that comes on us, and we need to do a better job of telling the good news that we're doing. And trust me, man, we're trying to do that at the grassroots level, at the VFW post level, but we're trying to do it at the state level, and definitely trying to do it nationally here at our headquarters in Kansas City and here in DC as well, brother.
Yeah.
Hey, so Terrence, Ron, we got a question from 𝗧𝗵𝗂𝗶𝗆 coming up. I think we ought to hit that after my comment. Yeah. But Terrence, when you and Brian came, first time I met you guys, when you came to Joint Base Lewis McChord, and I was the first Corps Sergeant Major here, you guys had a focus of the installation, community, VA, and veteran support organizations. And it sounds to me that you've just kind of taken that and pulled it with you here in the VFW to continue to build synergy amongst these organizations that do so much for our transitioning service members and veterans.
So I made you spot on. I took something that I felt that worked, that my boss had came up with. And one thing that I always kind of echo is something that he taught me. And that is, hey, never fall in love with your own plan. So, hey, I walked into the VFW thinking one way, and I was like, you know what? Let me revert back to what Sergeant Major did when we were tag teaming together at the Pentagon, because I think this would be a wonderful way to bring this strategy onto the VFW. And Sergeant Major, just like you said, man, that's what we've been trying to implement. We're trying to have that touch, within our community. We're trying to have that touch within the Department of Veterans Affairs, which we always do. And then we're trying to strategically communicate nationally to ensure that, once again, we're able to get those messages out. We're able to hear the voices from individuals like yourself, hear from your families, hear from the folks that are serving currently right now, because I think a lot of them don't know that they can become VFW members too while they're serving, because that's another issue that we need to do a better job of promoting. But yeah, it's a three-pronged attack. We need to be able to tap into those mechanisms to ensure that folks understand what the VFW is all about. I give you a classic example. We have programs right now that our actively serving service members can take advantage of. Obviously, you know, our servicemen and women, you know, if they come into a financial bind or have an emergency, they can tap into AER or Marine Corps Relief Fund or things of that nature. But a lot of times when you tap into that, you know, you tend to get a loan, which, you know, it's a no interest loan, but you have to pay it back. But guess what? The VFW offers something called, they have their own unmet needs program. And if you go to our website, vfw.org/assistance, read about the unmet needs program, you're able to receive a grant. And we issue out $1,500 grants all the time to folks, you know, for various different you know, financial issues or emergencies and things of that nature. And they don't have to pay that stuff back. They don't have to be VFW members. All they need to be is veterans. And all you have to do is apply for these type of deals, and we take care of them. We do the same for educational benefits as well. I know a lot of our warriors take advantage of their GI Bill, but once again, hey, that's an entitlement that you earn. Hey, just hold off on that. You know what I'm saying? Hold off on that when you actually need it. You know, reach out to us. We have mechanisms in place. We have sponsors who we work with, like Burger King, who help us with, you know, fund some of these programs. Sport Clips Haircuts helps us with the 𝗕𝗿𝗄𝗆 Scholarship, the fund that helps fund those educational scholarships that I'm talking about. So tap into us, see what's available. Trust me, there's a whole host of programs out there to folks that they don't know about. And we're just dying to help folks. Yeah.
You know, I'm familiar with that that grant program you're talking about. Pre-COVID, when we used to, you know, sit on round tables over here. There was a representative here from the VFW talk about that all the time in one of our Heroes to Hometown networking groups. And you know, and we've helped. I've seen them issue 5 of those grants to families in need. So it's you know, that is a phenomenal program. But got a couple questions from the audience here. I'm gonna actually we had missed one earlier. Then I'm gonna hit and then I'll hit you, Ed Sully. But from Jake Tozier. Says Terry, as a life member of the VFW and also a leader in VSO, it seems a lot of current younger veterans don't see themselves reflected in the VFW community. Is this something that the VFW also sees? And if so, what is the organization doing to address this?
Amazing question. Let me tell you something, man. That was the number one question I had before I took the position. So my executive director, BJ Lawrence, he's a past commander of the VFW back in 2018. Amazing soldier, amazing leader, amazing boss. When he interviewed me, you know, once again, it was that feeling I had again, where, you know, just 2 people are in a room and you just click. And I felt that he was on the right side of what the VFW was trying to do. And we chatted about it. And definitely, you know, 60% of our organization as it stands right now are Vietnam War veterans. And these men and women have done amazing things to keep our institution in place. But what I always tell folks, especially younger folks like myself and even the younger generation of veterans, is that, hey, who is going to fight for you on Capitol Hill once our Vietnam veterans have taken a knee and ridden off into the sunset? You know, who's going to advocate for you and the next generation of war fighters? We need you. We need folks like you. We need your talents. We need the diversity of having more women. We need the diversity of having more minorities. We need the diversity of having younger folks with bright and brilliant ideas to come on board to the VFW. And that's what we've been challenged with internally. And that's what I challenged myself with coming on board to the organization, with trying to tell everybody at the rooftops that I can that, hey, our organization is not what you perceive it to be. It's an amazing organization of individuals trying to do some amazing things for some veterans. And we need you. We need individuals like you to step up to the plate and take your leadership and your talents on our team and help us carry it over the goal line. So that's what I try to encourage every time I get a chance to do.
Man, where do I sign up? You got me hyped up, man. Go ahead, brother.
Hey, we want to put Cliffy's question up there.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
Terrence, you know, in anything you do, there's always that person, you know, that goes to the place where everybody knows their name, you know, and you got that groupie, you know, that.
Yeah. No doubt.
Ours is Ed Sullivan, and we call him. He's the Cliffy Clavin here.
Boom.
So go ahead, Ron.
Yeah. He says, I have a question for all 3 of you. In your experience, What do you believe is the most common struggle that veterans from post 9/11 generation have faced, and what should be done to help them overcome it? You want to kick that one off there, brother?
Yeah. So, this is something I deal with every day. Every day I'm talking to, upwards of half a dozen veterans. A lot of them are guys and gals that I've served with before. And when you look at, I'll take, the example, the surge in Iraq, a lot of the kids that fought there, the men and women, were young 18 and 19-year-olds. And now here it is, 12, 13 years later, they're in their early 30s. They're having relationship issues. They're having financial issues. They are still suffering from the hidden wounds of war. And they don't know how to, they've kind of lost that purpose that they had when they were on active duty and they were at the, tip of the spear for our nation and everything. And I think it all starts off that they're not part of an organization that allows them to get back after their purpose, So an organization like, the VFW or other veteran support organizations that bring together veterans and allow them to bond and, practice the brother and sisterhood and really get back after a purpose and everything. So when you lose purpose in whatever you do, then bad things can only happen. And as Ron and I talked up front, and then you start living in fear. And, and it's a dangerous thing to live in fear because fear leads to despair. And when there's no hope, then people go down the road of doing things like suicide or something like that. The other part of that is the first indication of a loss of purpose. We talk PME hard all the time. T. Hayes is a product of PME hard, and we'll talk about our little track along, the mountains of Korea there when we were staring down the North Koreans. But, this generation, I think they've let themselves go physically. This generation of veterans, it's easier for them when they let themselves go physically, mentally and emotionally, they have more struggles. Now that certainly transcends generations, but for this generation, I think that is key. And so I have this thing called, Get With the Movement. Ron, you and I run that, the hashtag Get With the Movement plan, and just get people moving, get exercising and taking care of their health. And I'll stop there and I'll let you two gentlemen get after it.
Yeah. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, Sergeant Major, you brought up a big point because I'm a testament to that. I departed the military, and once again, it was a little, it was a lot going on. I just put it like that, and when you're too prideful to ask for assistance, you try to carry those burdens on yourself. You start developing things. So I was clinically diagnosed with general anxiety disorder. Yeah. And so I'm trying to maneuver. I didn't even know I had anxiety disorder, but I didn't know what it was called. I just knew I was, all over the map. Yeah. But like you said, I had left one team and now I'm out there. I don't know what I'm, kind of doing right now. And I wanted that team kind of atmosphere. And like you stated, then I started to stop exercising. And it had been a big part of who I am for so long because it physically challenged me, it mentally challenged me, it kept me, upbeat and who I needed to be. But I just stopped. I went cold turkey, and then I gained like 30 pounds, and it wasn't muscle weight, and so then I started suffering from like a depression. Yeah. And so now I'm not even the Terrence I used to be, and now people notice that, and then thankfully an individual came up to me and said, "Hey, is something wrong, or you don't seem your jovial self." And sure enough, so then I went and talked to somebody, and that was the first step. And I thank my battle buddy for actually, filling me out and checking on me, because it helped me realize that, hey, I'm not myself, and I need to go take that next step. And lo and behold, I got myself back in the gym, got myself back working, got myself mentally focused back on that, got myself a positive team, and was able to just transition back into the war fighter, just on a different side of the spectrum now that I am now.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. From what I've seen on that is, as far as the common theme, is the benefit side of it, because, like you're saying, John, is the calls that we get, day in and day out. you know, from what I see, it's a lot of veterans that don't have or that need help, right, to get their claims processed and to push that through. And it's because they feel that they're a loss of hope, because they're like, well, no one's listening to me. I just want somebody to listen. There was a veteran that Billy and I helped about a year and a half ago. Keith, Vietnam era veteran, and had just retired from Boeing, had no disability, and he was just struggling just to find somebody that would listen to his story about what had happened to him. Right. Ended up, after we got everything in there, he got 100% 3 months later. But what's that is that lifestyle, right? Yeah. Getting up to that point. What did he have to go through? When he went to his appointment, he had to not take his medication, but then when he doesn't take his medication, he gets the shake so they could see what's happening. And I think the closer that we can nudge this up to the flagpole, and get them taken care of, like we're talking about day one, because then what does that look like? Wow. Oh, they do care. There's, you know, the system is looking out for me and caring. And now I have some hope and I can continue, and I need school benefits. And then, you know, it can kind of go on from there. So I think that, that's the biggest thing. But I love to see, and I love to hear, you know, how, you know, the VFW is also, you know, working in hand, you know, with the VA on this. So,
hey, Terrence, we got a, well, let's pull up the Mike Levine question first, Vic, and then we get to Billy. So, you know, lo and behold, the Dean of Mean himself, Mike Levine, one of the senior most DINFOS trained killers in the Department of Defense, has got a question there for you, T. Hayes. Question from my man, hashtag T. Hayes. Have there been any discussions of the VFW to support the upcoming initiative to review the tens of thousands of vets who left their service with so-called bad paper discharge? Mm-hmm. Great question.
Great.
Yes. To answer his question, yes. That's one of our highest priorities, man. Because at the end of the day, we want to ensure that our men and women who may have left on some sort of, difficult condition, that they're able to, repair themselves. Some of those conditions, I won't, no fault of their own. Some of those individuals were forced out because, they got hooked on medications or something for injuries and illnesses that they suffered while serving in uniform on behalf of our American people, and that's unfortunate. And we can't just kick them to the side just because of that situation. We got to build them up. We got to be there for them. And yes, that's one of the highest priorities for the VFW. We're constantly having those conversations with Congress about how we can institute some different policies and ensure that our men and women who are faced with these challenges are able to get their paperwork reviewed again, and we get it quicker than it's being done right now, so they can get the benefits and entitlements that they need and deserve.
Yeah,
awesome.
With that is I'm now that I think about what the VFW mission is, maybe this had something to do with it. But so on the VA home loan side, we get this thing that is required, as you know, the COE, the certificate of eligibility. And on that COE, it determines if who's eligible and who's not. Right. Also, depending on the DD-214. Now, if someone had the first term and had anything other than an honorable discharge, then they were deemed not eligible for that benefit. However, what's happening now, what we've seen is, somebody will have a DD-214 that I just checked it. They had a general under honorable conditions. It wasn't their first term. However, what they're receiving right now from the VA is attributed to PTSD, TBI, and somehow the systems kind of saw each other and talked to where we didn't have to go and fight that, right? Oh wow! And because of some of the laws that had passed to where they're allowing people another look at let's see what were the circumstances surrounding that. And I don't know if you know anything more about that yourself, or but that's some of the things that I understand. Wow. We've been seeing, happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely affecting quite a few folks, man. The major thing, once again, that we're involved in, because we want to ensure that our men and women are able to receive the health care, the immediate health care that they need. The benefits that, the compensation, that's great. No doubt about it. And a lot of them need that, but we want to ensure that they have the health care, because last thing we need is to send these warriors on the street and tell them that, you know what, you didn't do a good job. We're putting you out there. You're not entitled to anything that you earned. because you made a misstep, or a misstep, no fault of your own, because you got hooked on these painkillers or whatever the case may be because of the injury or illness you suffered while in uniform. That's unacceptable. And and we need to ensure that they have that health care in hand, because the last thing we need is to send those individuals out on the street and just disown them. And it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. Yeah. And just to finish that off before Ron, let you get to Billy's question there. When the war started, we're kind of talking this 9/11 thing, because of the number of injuries and wounded and everything that were coming back, we had to stand up a pain management command, if you remember. Yes. And it was based on the ability to use pharmaceuticals to treat these wounded, ill, and injured. And we kind of went the wrong direction with that. And we all of a sudden people were addicted to things like Oxycontin and these other things. Right. And it was having more of an adverse effect than it was a positive effect. And now we started looking at other things now. And I just sat in a brief today where the military now is looking at things like yoga and mindfulness to get after alternatives to pharmaceuticals that we've had people. And you're exactly right, Terrence. We got to look back at some of these folks that may have had some bad time or something. Yeah. But, what kind of pharmaceuticals were they on to treat a condition that we were just in the embryonic stages of learning about? Exactly. So great comments, brother.
Exactly.
Hey, we got our brother from the VA, I think, has got a question there. Billy.
Yep.
Another guy that helped me out significantly.
Yeah, Billy Knight, my man. Billy says, how are VFW VSOs communicating with active duty soldiers during COVID?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, it is. It is. Hey, we're all working remotely right now. So all of our veteran service officers are working from home or in a remote location, and they're still able to communicate with folks who are, in the process of transitioning. So, you can still contact their main line. It should be able to be sent to their line where they are in their computer. It pretty much taps into their computer, and they're able to still service claims and answer questions and monitor all of your stuff. As they would if they were in the office on the installations. So business is still as usual. They just aren't physically there in their offices.
Okay, there we go.
Awesome. All right, Ron, you think we ought to hit #THayes with some rapid fire here?
Let's do it.
Look at him. He's already warming up, man. All right, I'll go first here. All right. Hey, so like I said before, Terrence, we first met in 2011 when you and Brian 𝗬𝗏 came to JBLM. You remember we did a kick-ass PT session, some PME hard in the rain, and we were hugging some trees and everything, and then you and Brian 𝗬𝗏 came to Korea, and we went to the far eastern part of the country on the DMZ, no American troops, only out with the ROK troops. We did a patrol. If you remember, it was 10 below out, because I tried to explain to you guys, don't come here in February because I'm going to take you out. Because Brian being the warrior he wanted to be out with the troops and he wanted to be at the point of friction. So we get out there and we did that patrol over some of the roughest terrain we've ever been on. And then afterward, we went to the chow hall for that ROK division, and we imbibed plenty on soju and beer. So let me ask you, my question is this. What was the hardest of those three events? Hugging that tree for 2 to 3 minutes at a time on Watkins Field, patrolling up and down the DMZ, doing the stare down with the North Koreans, sweating our butts off in 10 below weather, or spending the rest of the evening drinking soju and beer with those Koreans, man?
Well, I'll put it to you like this. Hanging with my fellow Koreans, man, those are some amazing people. I don't even remember how I woke up that morning, the next day. So I'm not going to put that on the list. I don't even remember. but JBLM. Yeah, I remember the hug in the tree.
Yeah,
man, that march. Oh my God, I still remember that. I think I actually brought that up when I was going through my VA disability claim process because I was like, man, my feet are still hurting to this day.
Awesome. Man. Well, all right, Ron.
When we're talking about hugging those trees, was that qualifying or was that just?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Okay. That's good stuff. If nobody out there knows what a qualifying is, just think about what the hell a koala does, but it's
right
upside down. So man, I think as most veterans, most ones that I know, maybe not John so much. Well, I think he has too. We when we first get out, we have that. You know what? I don't have to do PT. I don't have to do this. I could chill out.
That was never been
I'm
me,
gonna eat.
man.
I'm gonna have a couple meals. Let's see how this rolls. What was your favorite go-to cheat meal that one day you were like, I got to stop eating these and I got to get in shape? Like, I have mine. What is yours? Because I know you have one.
So actually, this happened during COVID, which I had to stop cold turkey. So, man, I've actually lost 30 pounds during COVID, which is crazy. You know what I'm saying? But that first month, man, I started eating ice cream every night.
Woo!
Every night. I mean, my wife and I were going.
Need more than that. What flavor, man? What,
give us the good stuff. How you making it?
Tell you. It wasn't me making it. We were literally spending money to go to Dunkin' Donuts and whatever they served the ice cream there. And I would get a 3-scoop sundae, 2 scoops of butter pecan, 1 scoop of chocolate, walnuts, hot fudge, whipped cream and cherry, like every other day. Woo! for like 3 weeks. And then I stepped on the scale. And that thing said 230. And
gravity got a hold of you, man. Everything went south on you, man.
Bro, I felt every bit of it. And I was like, hey, that's it. We got to kill this. And we haven't been doing that, man. And I've been PTing my butt off, trying to get PME hard, man. Especially, I knew I was coming on this show. I had to look right. So I had to look right for Sergeant Major. So wait, I had to cut that loose quick.
All right. Hey, so I got another question for you here on Rapid Fire, man. You and guys like Levine and KOTOR, you guys kind of turned me on to this. Man, this obsession across the public affairs community called DINFOS trained killers. I mean, there's even a Facebook page with tens of thousands of people on it called, hashtag DINFOS trained killers. And now everywhere I go, I just did an event up here at First Corps with the 5th M Mobile Public Affairs Detachment. And I'm hanging around a bunch of these DINFOS trained killers. And tell me what this is all about, man. Got a bunch of dang PAO folks running around, wanting to go get the next bin Laden, man. What's up?
Hey, they mold you and develop you down in DINFOS at Fort Meade, Maryland. I'm telling you. And hey, but all those DINFOS trained killers you talk to, Levine, he's obviously our Sergeant Major of Public Affairs right now. Big ups to him for some amazing things he's doing. KOTOR, that's my guy. We grew up in the ranks. But Sergeant Major, I'm the champion of DINFOS trained killers. I'm the champion of DINFOS trained killers. I got the belt to show for it. So to all those other individuals, DINFOS trained killers you've had on the show, they don't trump this one right here. I got the championship belt.
Hey, you know what I love about it is, what this has done. It's created a community of purpose, motivation, and inspiration amongst the entire career field. And when I see these young PFCs, this PFC that interviewed me up here, and I said, and first thing I asked him, you're a DINFOS trained killer? He just stood up taller, chest out, absolutely, SEAC. I'm proud to be it, man, and then I couldn't get him to shut up. I said, hey, you're supposed to be interviewing me, man.
That usually happens.
Yeah. Over to you, Ron.
Oh, man. All right. Well, are you a fan of wrestling at all?
Oh, you know it, man. That's my
guilty
pleasure.
WWE belt right there, man.
That's my guilty pleasure. I'm sorry.
So there's another in the Hispanic side, the luchadors, right?
Oh yeah.
All right. So good. I'm glad we're on track. So our buddy Rob KOTOR, obviously.
Yes.
So you and Rob KOTOR get into a ring. What is his wrestling name for the luchador, and what is yours?
Oh man, that's a good one. What is Rob's name? Man. Woo, that's a good one. I'm gonna call Rob Big Nasty. And Hey, I'm just 𝗕𝗗𝗄, man, because I'm gonna hit him with a 𝗧𝗵𝗂𝗃𝗃. I'm gonna hit him with a 𝗧𝗵𝗃𝗃 off the top rope, and then I'm gonna get back on the top rope and hit him with the splash. You know, like Eddie Guerrero used to do.
Oh yeah. Hey, before you do that splash, you got to get the hashtag, man.
Oh yeah, hashtag
𝗕𝗗𝗄𝗃.
Oh, over to you, brother.
Hey, we can't let you get out of here, man. So tell us how the family's doing, how Chelsea's doing now, and everything you mentioned earlier. You know, how's everything with family life now?
Oh, family's great. You know, we're actually going through some amazing times right now, man. We you know, unfortunately with the situation I talked about earlier, unfortunately she's unable to bear children. However, we have we've connected with a family friend, man. Awesome. A husband and a wife who is now taken on the task, giving us the ultimate gift to carry our child, you know,
awesome.
For us. So trust me, man, it's a gift from God. It's the ultimate gift, man. I can't thank these two individuals enough. But we're able to bear a child now, and we're going through that process right now. Due date is June, man. So we're excited and happy, and more to follow on that. I believe Chelsea knows what the sex of the baby, because I told her not to tell me, but she keeps dropping dimes or something here and there. But no, everything's great, and we're blessed. And thanks for asking, brother.
Hey, so I got a follow up on that one. So here you are, one of the hardest public affairs guys, the champion of the Denfos trained killers, big old arms, big old chest, you know, muscle bound guy. Are you going to be changing dirty diapers, man?
I will. Probably the majority of the time. I'm a softie, man. As hard as I may be, and some of my soldiers will probably say I was a hard ass or whatever the case may be. But they also say that I cared for them too. So I'm a very caring individual, and trust me, man, I'll probably be the first one up, last one to bed, making sure that the baby has everything that he or she needs. So I'm a softie, man. I'll be probably changing all the diapers.
What kind of reveal party you got planned? You got to do it now.
My wife is trust me, man, she's a planner on all those things, and I got a funny feeling it's gonna be something unique. Trust me, man.
Hey,
she goes all out. She goes all out.
Don't do like those folks in California. They shot something in the sky, and
no, I'm not gonna burn
all
up
of a sudden,
I'm not gonna burn the whole state of Maryland up. No, I won't do that. Trust me, we will not do that.
Well, hey, Brother Terrence, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule, brother, to come and join Ron today. It's been one of the best shows we've had, man.
Yeah. Just
appreciate all of the work that you not only did for our nation on active duty, and specifically to guys like Brian Battaglia and me when we both served at the SEAC, but what you're doing now with the VFW. And thanks for laying out the importance of the organization, the direction you all are going, and how we can get troops involved. Really appreciate you, man. Love you, brother. And look forward to staying in touch, man.
No, thanks, brothers. I truly appreciate you. And I'm glad I've checked off this block on my to-do list. This has been the greatest time, man, that I've had in 2020. Trust me. And thanks to all of y'all, man. Boom.
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 Uh-oh. Did Ron freeze up on us?
Oh, I think Ron froze up, man.
Yeah, he did. Well, hey, brother, we're not gonna hold you, man. God bless you. Stay in touch. Give Chelsea a hug for me, man. And I look forward to talking to you soon. And I look forward to coming on your podcast, man.
Yes,
God
sir,
bless
man.
You, brother.
God bless you too. Thank you, man. And tell Sandra we love her.
All right, love you, brother. Take care.
All right.
And to our fans, thanks for being here. We'll see you all next week, same time, same channel, on the Ron and John Show, brought to you by Veterans Lending Group. On three, let's do it together. There, 𝗕𝗗𝗄𝗃. 1, 2, 3. Boom!
Boom!
The Ron and John Show is brought to you by Veterans Lending Group, where we can assist you with all your home buying and refinance needs. Since we're licensed in all 50 states, we can ETS, PCS, or retire wherever you go. Check out our education classes at VAHomeloanBootCamp.com for our free classes, and you can also visit our website at veteranslendinggroup.com. Make sure to follow the Ron and John Show on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Hey, folks, we hope you enjoyed our guest this week.
Thanks for tuning into the Ron and John Show, and we'll see you next week.
Woo!